Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt Lane, and welcome back to another weekly podcast episode with Jay Bustin and myself, coming all the way from YouTube or wherever the frick you're listening to it at right now.
God bless the internet, where one loudmouth Bostonian and one loudmouth Mississippi nerd can just sit down, talk about video games, and you guys come and check it out every week for some God knows why reason.
Right? Which is really funny given that neither of us are that old, but when we were young, this would not have been a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, like, the technology boom has been crazy, like, in the last 15 years.
That's kind of an insane thought. But anyways, getting off the topic.
Anyone remember Netscape Navigator? Just throwing that out there.
Jesus. Okay. So moving on. If you've ever been to this podcast before, we talk about gaming stuff in general, whether it be games or gaming news. Try to talk about a topic for about 5 minutes, and then for 2 games or 2 concepts that are coming out for about 2.5 to 3 minutes apiece. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start the 5-minute timer for the first topic of the day. And this is something we covered in one of our earlier episodes. It might have even been the first one. I'm not really sure what episode it was. But we talked about... who cares? Get that Boston accent. Or whatever.
Oh, gosh. You're insulting me right now. That was a New York accent. Get that weak.
I'm glad you at least caught that, though. Is Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be the topic. We talked about it as a game coming out, and obviously it is already out now, and
Woo.
I have played it a little bit. This is really sad, and I kind of hate myself for it. I have not opened my own copy of it. I just got the collector's edition. I just haven't. I've been opening a new store in Petal to give like a light insight to my personal life. Petal is just a city that is next to us, and I'm a manager of AT&T's, and one of ours got destroyed by a tornado, so I'm having to literally rebuild one of them. So I've had a crazy busy time, but so I haven't had a lot of gaming time in my personal life, but I was at a friend's house and got to play it a little bit, and then I've done a lot of reading and a lot of watching on it. So I have had my hands into it, just not personally at my house, I guess. But it's really cool, very, very unique. There's not a whole lot of games I would really compare it to as far as storyline goes, like at all.
Right. It's so refreshing to see that these days, because so many games are just like copy paste of the same things over and over again.
Right.
But this game truly is hard to describe because it's such a new, like, I mean, gameplay wise, it might not necessarily be a new concept, but like what it is as a whole is kind of new.
Absolutely. And I kind of give them a little leeway because, like, it's quite frankly, it's hard to make something new at this point. Like, you've covered so much ground in so little of a time. Like, what the frick do you do that's new? But at the same time, like, new isn't always good, because just because something hasn't been done doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Right. I mean, and with everyone on the internet freaking out every time YouTube changes their layouts, like change equals bad. It's like, nah.
Take it from someone who studied music in college. They had to study musical theory. Just because it hasn't been done does not mean it's good. I'm looking at you, 20th century music.
Ooh, jeez. Shots fired. Okay, so talk to me about Horizon real quick. How does it handle, like, do you feel like it's a little janky to control? It's a little awkward, maybe, implementing some of the features?
Not at all. It is so ridiculously smooth. It's very fluid. It feels natural. It's not hard to get into at all. Your typical controls, kind of, for the most part. Like, it's unique, but your
gamer instincts just kind of take over.
It will, for sure. What gets me, even to this day, even though it's been out for a while now, I say a while, like more than a week, or well,
not even. At the time this is released, it'll be a few weeks, but it's been not even a week at the point of recording. So.
It came out on the 20th. Well, no, so 6 days. So yeah. Right at it. It's the graphics still get me. Like, it is so freaking beautiful.
Awesome.
It's amazing. The story is really cool. We're still waiting to see. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything, but I will say, it's an interesting concept because, you know, you have these robotic dinosaurs and these primal looking people. So that kind of raises 10 million questions. And what it is, to now share a little bit of light on it for anyone who wants to know, because this isn't anything spoiler, it's just giving you like a little bit of insight that you'll get literally the second you start the game, is that the people that are alive now, this is all they've known. So the world has been this way longer than any of the people that are alive. So it's all they know. So the question is, how did it get this way?
And isn't there, I mean, I saw a trailer for it or something, but isn't there like a prophecy or something like that that says like, we don't know how the world got this way, but we know that it can't stay this way?
Not
Something like that? I could be completely wrong on that.
not real. I mean, there's
That
some,
could be literally any other video game.
not to that exact extent. There is some questions that are raised.
It's something like this balance can't remain or something like that.
No.
Okay, all right, I'm wrong.
At least for the part that I've gotten into, I would not say so, but I'm not extremely far into it, so maybe it'll get there.
Right.
From what I've played, no. But you know, some of the people are a little more self-aware than others. To give you an idea, some of the priestess or matriarchs, as they call them, actually like worship this thing. They call it the All Mother, and it's literally just a machine. But they don't like they. The people know.
I've seen weirder religions, dude. I'm looking at you, Pastafarians.
It's hard. It's really hard to explain until you play it, because like certain people, they are aware it's machines. They're not idiots. Like they know that these are not natural animals, but it's just always been there. So they know that it was created at some point. They don't think it just came out of nowhere. But no one knows like what caused this to be this way, why there's no industry anymore or anything like that. Like, you know, obviously they're primal, so they're having to survive off the land. So why is it not industrialized anymore? Was there a great war? Did you have a Terminator situation to where machines got too smart? Like what the heck happened?
Yeah, so lots of questions raised in this game. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out. It's a game I definitely want to pick up for myself at some point as well. So.
Right, and I've well past the timer. Well, one more thing to give a shout out to the first episode we talked it in. Her name is pronounced Aloy as opposed to Alloy, which is how
that's just
yeah.
Like that's even dumber. That's even dumber.
Yeah, her name is pronounced Aloy. But anyways, it's a really freaking cool game. It's very unique. It's super beautiful. So if you have not picked it up, look into it. And unfortunately, it's a PlayStation exclusive as well. So if you have an Xbox, you're going to run into issues there. But
stay tuned for next episode where we talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more on that upcoming, because we figured that we probably should, given how many exclusives we're running into here. But that's all I'm going to have for that. I'm going to go ahead and pass off the next timer to Jay. Talk for about 2.5 minutes for some games that are coming out now. So Jay, go
Don't
ahead.
tell me what to do.
Gosh,
the nerve of this guy. I'm going to stop talking to you. I'm going to start talking to all the lovely people.
I do what I want.
We're going to talk about another exclusive game, but this time it's not a PS4 exclusive. It's a Nintendo Switch exclusive. We're looking at Super Mario Odyssey, a game that will be dropping this holiday season of 2017. If anyone's wondering, at the time of this recording, Andy is now streaming A Link to the Past.
Woo,
so
dating the video.
Yeah. Yep. Well, he does it like every day.
Yeah.
So anyway, Super Mario Odyssey is the next 3D Mario platformer, and for me, the first true one since Super Mario Sunshine. A lot of people are like, well, it was Mario 3D World, which like you're not wrong, but like not in the style of Mario Sunshine, where it's like there's different worlds and you do different missions, not just run through a level once real quick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your Mario 64, it's like your Mario Sunshine. Mario Galaxy, I didn't feel was the same to this in this effect, because Mario Galaxy was a very linear game, where like it wasn't open world. There were just small planets that you could explore here, there, and whatever. And Mario Odyssey, I would hesitate to label it as open world, but more like open level. It's, you know, you're loaded into this level, whether it's a forest level or it's a New Donk City is like the main hub of it all or whatever. It's the big city that was shown off. And you explore through the level and you find whatever MacGuffins it is you have to collect in this game and presumably rescue Peach from Bowser. But one of the cool mechanics in it, because like with every Mario game, they're always striving to be like, all right, what's something new we can do? Like Mario 64 was fun, but we don't just want to copy paste that, so they introduced Flood. And then in Mario Galaxy, they were like, all right, well, we don't want to do Flood again. He's kind of run his course, although personally I'd love to see another Mario Sunshine. So let's introduce spinning. That was kind of a cool mechanic where you could like do your spin attack. And then in Mario Galaxy 2, they were like, okay, let's throw Yoshi into that mix now and see how we can combine all these new features. And so in this one, the feature is your hat. You can throw your hat like a la Odd Job. And your hat seems to be sentient. If you look at the picture of it, like your hat has googly eyes, kind of like Banjo-Kazooie.
That's an interesting
you can
feature.
use your hat as like a platform, like you can throw it and then jump on it to get across a long gap. If your long jump isn't good enough, you can use it to attack people. I'm guessing it's going to be like your Flood or the Luma in your hat. It's going to kind of be your, hey, you can do this and go this way now, annoying Navi-like thing that Nintendo seems to love to do. Because they don't just trust gamers to just explore things for themselves. Although, with Breath of the Wild, I can't really say that anymore. So, anyway, Mario Odyssey coming out for the Switch this holiday season. I'm excited for it. It's one of 3 games coming out for the Switch this year that I'm like, I know I'm getting this 100%. Breath of the Wild being one, that being one, and then Splatoon 2. So
Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 1 with more stuff. Who knows? It might be more. I don't know. Just a little stab there. But moving on. So the topic I'm going to be talking about for another game coming out, Destiny 2. And I'm going to have to refrain from being super salty.
It's never stopped you before.
Try to dial down the salt. Well, if I get too salty, I'm start yelling and start peaking the mic.
All right, I'll try to keep you in check.
Not really. I don't
rely. All right, you got to go on vibrate.
Man,
you got to rely on the Bostonian to keep your anger in check.
Yeah, that probably won't happen. I'll just give you a Frosty, appease you for the meantime. That's a very old inside joke that goes a long time back.
But we'll talk about that in episode 10. Come back episode 10. Anyway, restart your timer. Talk to me about Destiny 2 now.
Yeah, it's still going. So anyway, there's a lot to be desired for this. For anyone who played Destiny, I think the best way to put it, it was great and it was absolutely horrible.
Yeah. As someone who played a fair amount of Destiny, I can attest to that 100%.
Yeah, that's just like, there were so many great, fantastic things, and there were so many terrible things. So there's a lot to be desired for this game, to where you're like, okay, there's a lot of crap you need to get your stuff together, and there's a lot of stuff that I hope you don't change, because it was really great. Very unique, very cool that you get kind of the group things. One of the biggest banes of the game for me, and it's kind of hard to say this because it's also one of the biggest strengths if you have it at the time, is that you have all these multiple missions to where you get a bunch of people involved and you overtake it as a group as opposed to individually. And that's cool. That allows cooperative play and, to meet friends, make friends, or whatever have you. But when you make it to where it's literally impossible to do this by yourself, that throws a little bit of issues on it.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of online only games.
Correct.
Too much.
And they'd never made it out to be such. Like they did put a heavy emphasis on the online factor, but they never really said, hey, like this is going to be the only option you have. Nor should they, because now this is a long-winded topic, but America as a whole is still very behind on internet compared to other countries, which is really weird.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm ignorant in that neck of the woods, but okay. I'll take your word for it.
We could talk about that at some point in time.
You know what? I just realized Japan's a country, and they have amazing internet that I've heard so many stories about. Okay.
I mean, we are still well ahead of a ton of countries, but there are other ones that have public internet that is 10 times faster than any of the home internet that you can get. And that in and of itself is an atrocity.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. But anyways, there's not a whole lot known about the game. I know I've kind of already hit the timer, so I'm going to kind of be quick here. But the biggest thing that is kind of cool they're talking about is that you're going to be able to bring over some of your stuff into the new one if you have a save file from Destiny.
Yeah.
Not a ton of stuff, rightfully so, because that'd be kind of OP if you could bring.
Yeah,
in
they're
two-
not letting you import like your level and equipment. I
No,
think.
no, no, not level or equipment. More so look and stuff like that. So any sort of armor you've gained, if it
Oh.
looks a certain way, I don't know if it'll have the same attributes. I doubt it. But
Well, the cool thing about Destiny is like you couldn't wear certain armor until you hit a certain level anyway. So
right.
attributes really wouldn't matter.
So that's a big thing. There's talk of it coming to PC.
That would be good.
So that would be a huge thing for the gaming industry as well. They're really gonna have to step up their game if they're gonna do that. And then number 3, there's a crap ton of freaking story holes to fill. Like there's so many questions that everybody has about stuff, and the DLC did not help that matter. But anyway, so that's Destiny. Be on the lookout for that. It's supposed to be coming out in the fall, sometime in the third quarter. They don't have a specific date landed on it yet, which is kind of how the first one was. You really never knew. They kind of just kept moving.
Yeah, one day it was just like, oh, here's Destiny.
Yep, they kind of just kept moving it around. But that's going to be it for this podcast episode, guys. Thank you all for stopping around and listening as always.
Yeah, man, it's been a good time. We're gonna hit you with 2 comment questions of the day, just like last time. One of them, we're gonna do episode 10. It's coming up. It's gonna be a big episode. Episode 5 was a big one, and a lot of people seem to like it and wished we would do that format a little bit more. To which we say, we're busy adults with many important things to do and don't have time to record like a 30 to 45 minute episode
every time,
every week. What we've been doing is just like batches of 3.
right?
So anyway, so with episode 10, we're going to be free-forming it, just kind of talking about whatever's on our mind. So put something in our mind. Throw something in the comment sections you'd like us to talk about for episode 10. And then also something a little more short-term with gaming these days is, what's your take on online gaming? Things like Destiny, if you've not been familiar with that. It basically, you can't do the single campaign player mode without having more other people in it, and that's, you know, fine and dandy for you, but like what's like an online game that worked well for you?
My my answer, the first thing that comes to mind immediately is the Borderlands series. And I know it was a very unique one because it's exactly what we said it needed to be. It was not, this has to be online. You know, you had the option to do this by yourself and continue, and simultaneously at any point change it to online to where someone could come in and help you.
Yeah, you just drop in and out of the game seamlessly. It was pretty great.
But it would still be the internal memory storyline. Like, it wouldn't be just it's like on section to where, you know, it's a multiplayer thing and doesn't intertwine with the story.
Yeah, it's not like GTA 5.
Right, and that was really cool to me. And I love it, and it was always really smooth. You didn't have a lot of issues with it. That's one of the very few multiplayer games I could say that I don't think we ever had problems with like players getting booted or anything like dropping connection or hardly anything of that matter. So whatever those guys did, that's my answer. Like, do what they did, because they did it right.
Borderlands 2 was a really fun experience. Me and Fraser got a good chunk through it. I actually haven't beaten it, but it was a ton of fun.
It's some great. For you? What's your answer on that one?
I'm gonna have to throw it back to. I know I just mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I'm throwing it back to GTA 5.
Interesting.
It's for what it is. Like, you get your own entirely different game with GTA Online, and the DLC that they keep releasing for it is incredibly free. You know, when GTA Online first came out, when the game was first released, like 4 years ago now, it was just a place, it was just like a sandbox for you to goof around with your friends and do races or whatever. And then they released, and it had a little bit of a story to it, but not really much. But then they released heists, and you could do like grand heists with other people, like these massive level, like take a boat to an aircraft carrier, steal an airplane off of it, and like break into a building using the technology you strip from the engine of it. Like, it was like massive level heists. And then there was the biker club, and then like all these other things they keep releasing for it, and they're still working on it, which is amazing to me. And it's all free too. So.
That's an important factor.
And you can transfer your character around consoles. So like, I have a character on my PS4 account, but if I were to get it on PC too, I could just put my character on that file too, and have everything that I had in it. So
Heck yeah, that's a good concept to have, that kind of transfer over. But that's going to be it for today's podcast, guys. Thank you all for stopping by and listening. Just make sure in the comments you go answer both of the questions that were presented with you today, one of which, what would you like for us to talk about in episode 10? We're going to have a nice long episode where we just chill and talk. So literally anything you think of, preferably gaming wise, but I mean, if you want to put something that's not, go for it. We'll at least read it. May not talk about it, but we'll at least read your comment. If nothing else. And then make sure you answered Jay's question of the day today, which would be, what was a multiplayer game for you that would be kind of the definition of, hey, this was done right, this was a good multiplayer platform.
Shout outs to Matt for repeating everything I just said. We will see you guys next time.
It's what I do.